You're live.
Hey, y'all, what's going on? How is it going on this night? We're a minute early. I saw that. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the livest show on the internet. Comes on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Huge show. It's a big deal.
Remind me to set up the next show before we leave.
Yeah, we'll set up the next show and the rant before we leave. How are you guys tonight? Everything well?
You're gonna do a rant
Thursday.
On who's
I thought we'd do a conversation cocktail on Thursday. Well, can we just schedule it then? We can just go live when we want to. We'll just announce it on the platforms. Just go live. That way we don't have to put nothing in stone. We don't know what time we'll be ready.
We're not gonna have any laptops. Remember, we're limited.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Remember last time we had a problem booking stuff? I'll talk to you about that offline. Because there's certain things, functions we can't do. Like I tried to do it from the iPad earlier today. That's why I asked you that question. There's certain stuff we can't do from these devices.
Okay. So
that's why I was like, we pre-schedule everything now before we leave.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. I don't know what time.
Okay.
Because I don't know what we have planned. You have 130 people waiting on this thing.
I'm ready whenever you are.
I'm ready.
I'm April BB.
I am Mr. Brando. And welcome to the status of the Iraqi Dinar IQD. And it is a heck of a show. First of all, we're going to have not a lot of calls tonight. I want to limit to 2 calls. I'm going to have Pimpe to call in. I'm going to also have George to call in after him. Pimpe is going to describe to you what he did to infiltrate a banking system in Iraq, and he showed me proof of it. So he'll tell you guys a little bit later on. But what he did was he pretended to be a oil investment firm that had several $1 million to invest in Iraq, and asked them what or anything they were willing to do to earn his business. And he's going to spill it live later on at 9:30 CST live, what we talked about, and we'll go from there. And then after that, George, our ISX expert, is going to take the last 15 minutes, field questions and answers, just like Pimpe is on the first half about what he did, to prove to you guys that we get the livest and the most realest people. And George is going to talk about the stock exchange, and Pimpe is going to talk about the way to infiltrate the whole Iraqi system, to tell him about certain things that he knows. We'll start off with some news. First of all, the name of the show is crazy. If you're going to trade, doesn't Iraq need to be on the whole, what do you call it, international level? I do believe they want to trade bad. I believe they're out there right now trying to make some deals happen. I think that all the people that are criticizing them on not having things done on our time frame, you got to understand this government has only been around since about 15 years, so democracy is very new to them, and you have to have some understanding. But I have some jewels to drop, so I'm going to drop them right about now. I told you guys the other day that Citibank was the first commercial bank to give a loan to Iraq in several years, if any, and it came to fruition. They signed a contract and giving them a loan, and Citibank is also heavily into the auctions, and so is Wells Fargo. Shout out to Lee for telling me that earlier. But yeah, if you go out there and research it, and he showed me the research for it, that Citibank and Wells Fargo are heavily into dinar auctions. The International Monetary Fund has allocated $1 billion and $200 million for implementation of sanitary projects. The members of the Committee on Integrity Parliamentary Taha defend yesterday during a statement in RT government of province of Baghdad the disbursements of budget for the previous parliamentary session on the paving of streets of the districts in Article Spice. what they're telling you is that a lot of people are pouring into Iraq. A lot of people are also calling for the general amnesty law, all politically motivated judicial things. Collaboration sent a tweet on Twitter that Iraq is the threshold of a new phrase require that the judicial sentences issued politically motivated for Iraqis and the first of Saudi. So he's shouting out the two major political blocs right there, and he's giving them homage, and which we do early on, and I will do in just a few minutes. They also meant to resolve the files of the ministries. And remember, I reported because my friend, it's a journalist in Iraq. Let me scratch my back right in the middle real quick. Down a little bit. Oh, underneath here. Underneath, because it's not getting it. Underneath. In the middle, up high. Oh my God. Oh, thank you. Sorry, y'all, but dang. My friend told me that they will not vote on the Minister of Interior. They will not vote on the Minister of Defense on these first two Tuesday and Saturday votings. They will not do that. But judicial and education might go through. So don't look forward to anything like that in the next couple of days. Washington looking to provide a safe and attractive environment for investment. So that's what just shocks me so much about Iraq right now. Part of the reports are that Iraq's going to vote on the very first things about removing all the U.S. forces and bases and all that stuff. I say that on an economic and affairs and finance, Farouk Hussein on Thursday that the U.S. Embassy in Iraq to provide a safe and attractive environment and investment in Iraq. So my question for them to be this: if you guys want to create a safe environment for investment, don't you think you ought to have some type of stability as far as security of your safety goes? Didn't just ISIS turn over a bunch of people in Syria and all these other places and say, hey, look, we're about to go ham on you boys? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I get it. But, yeah, there's a major problem if the security forces leave Iraq. I think so goes the enforcements of the world. You see what I'm saying? So it leaves Iraq totally vulnerable to what's going on. During that visit, Deputy Prime Minister will meet senior officials from the United States, the international community, World Bank, and IMF officials, and hold a meeting with U.S. trade representatives on the resumption of bilateral trade and investment talks. The two sides discussed providing safe and attractive investment opportunities, companies and capital to work in Iraq and participate in reconstruction campaigns and services. Skip that. I posted a article on Twitter, thanks to Lee, about will the Iraqi dinar soar in 2019. I tweeted it. Several other YouTubers out there found it really, really encouraging. Some of them made videos about it. Shout out to those guys that made videos about this. I think, thank you, 365. I think you did one. Mm-hmm. A couple other guys did. Thank you, all of you guys that made videos out there about that. I thought that was a very influential tweet for 2019. I think the stuff that we have to substantiate those beliefs are coming through here just a little bit, okay? The Iraq banking system cuts time with the sanctioned banks, in which they should. I said that on Facebook that, yeah, anything that has a sanction attached to it, Iraq should cut the ties to it. The Turkish foreign prime minister said that his country will play an important role in the reconstruction of Iraq, expressing a readiness to share its experience with Baghdad. They pointed out on his country's intention to open a new border crossing with Iraq near the village of Akobikuya in the state of Shirnak, southeast of his country, about 7 kilometers from the Turkish-Iraqi border triangle. He expressed a readiness to share his experience with Iraq as well as its place at the Kuwait conference for the reconstruction. We've speculated several times that if the Kuwait conference donor money was taken or used, not speculatively, I guess, but on a level of notoriety, I guess it was noted that we knew we were about to be international soon, if not then. Trade, exchange, and agreements that have not been achieved with Egypt. So all these people want to come in here and trade. If you thumbnail that was associated with the whole show tonight about trade, if you see on the left side, it's about the whole Silk Road. Oh my gosh. If you have not done your homework about Silk Road, go do it. If you're a derivatives person or a person that sees the dinar, it's substantiating a basket of currencies that is going to go from Europe all the way to Asia and beyond. The Silk Road is one of those things that's going to help you understand where I was going with that. I stole that from my boy Peter, if he's on here. Peter, you're a good guy. I know you're out there right now in somewhere, I believe, Ecuador. You're having a few drinks and you're enjoying life. So, yes.
He's out there.
Yeah, is he out there?
Yeah,
he's a hell of a good man. You know Peter, don't you, babe?
Yeah.
Is he a good man?
Yeah, he is.
He seems like he's on the up and up, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a scammer or nothing like that, right?
No, Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry, Miss Brando will shortly. See, there he goes right there. See, Peter.
Say I announce him?
Hmm?
What did he say, Peter? Don't worry.
Don't worry, Brando will shortly.
What's he talking about? April, tell.
Oh, April. Wait. Crap. Tell Dottie how cool I am.
He's a hell of a cool man. He's so cool for school. We're not even going to talk about him right now. Yeah, Pete, we see you, big dog. You're out there in Ecuador doing what you do. We love you. Minister of Transportation, Ali has held an extensive meeting with the Dewana Committee for blah, blah, blah. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of things. Transportation. So the Silk Road Initiative, if you guys haven't gone up to Wikipedia, look up the Belt and Road Initiative on Wikipedia. Visualize China's most ambiguous mega project, One Belt, One Road. If you haven't done that on visualcapitalist.com, understand the veracity that if Iraq is included that on the maritime side, they're talking about the largest infrastructure for electricity and for transportation that it's ever seen in the world, bigger than anything anybody's ever seen. So them to even be breathing a part of this is a huge feather in Iraq's cap. Because Iraq, with all its corruption and all of its wrongdoings, with all these other things, to even mention in this conversation, it's a huge feather. On the other side, the WTO, we know that they said they've already went ahead and put in their petition for a full application. It should be done here pretty quick. And if it's done, that substantiates the whole thing about the Silk Road. It's a trade market. With a trade market, if you have somebody who substantiates it, then you are on board to be a mega huge trade force in your zone. I read the other day that Jordan has just started receiving 10,000 barrels per day of Iraqi oils. And my question of that was, she explained that the price of oil is coming from Iraq at the price of Brent, plus transportation costs, equity teams, in addition to administration costs. Well, all that being said, Jordan's basically at $1.41 in currency. So I wonder what they're charging between the two of them as a currency rival to pay for those per barrel per oil. Again, I've talked about One Belt, One Road on Brookings.ed.
Can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah. Ask me some questions, please.
Okay. So, have you heard from Vic?
Yeah, I heard from Vic today. Vic talked to his uncle. It was not his mom. He talked to his uncle about what had happened, and he was very, very inquisitive about how many banks in Iraq were international, because the bank that he purchased the tickets from, or that his people purchased the tickets from to come over here, was from the Bank of Baghdad. He thought that was the only bank that was international in Iraq. Mm-hmm. So that made a big difference to him, because he was like, well, who else is international? And he was like, I said, well, I don't know. And he said, well, the Bank of Baghdad is what issued them the visa. Mm-hmm. So that's where they bought the tickets. He didn't know how much they purchased them for.
Okay. And then Jeanette wants to know that Venezuela has two currencies. Which one is it? Because there's the
Bolivar, whatever we call it.
There's two of them called that. So there's the Venezuela Bolivar, and then there's the SO right here. See where it said that?
The Sovereign Bolivar. Which one do we buy?
Yeah, which one do you invest?
Then allow me to do some research on that, Jeanette, and I will let you know. As far as I know, the only one I've ever heard is the Venezuelan Bolivar. Okay. That's it for me.
Okay. All right.
You want more news, or you want to keep going?
Go ahead, continue with the news. I just want to get those questions out before I forget.
Amiri gave full power to arrest all that are involved with the Badr movement and the Iraqi Dinar news. Iraqi banks won a prize, which is really unique, because these guys that won a prize, man, we'll get to that in a minute, but they won a prize. The head of integrity reveals a great works to resolve major corruption cases. But we've already talked about this. If the Integrity Commission doesn't get some type of legislative bite, having all these people out there that are under corruption cases will go free. So they have to have some legislation bite to make all that happen. Somebody asked me about the Iraqi businesses listed on Forex, And the reason for they asking that is because the Jordan JSC, the Jordan Security Commission, is out there right now working with Iraq to get them on board, to get them in compliance with the NASDAQ. And that's a huge thing because that's what George is talking about. That's why George says, hey, look, I'm doing an investment portfolio. The first 100 people that get in that give a certain amount, they're exasperating that they will make, they've already bought 1 million plus shares, but they're thinking they're going to buy over I don't know how many shares he just told me, but the money that he'll return on that will be over $1 billion and some change. That each investor may net as much as $160,000 to $170,000 per investor or per couple that are invested in this thing. And the entry fee is only $200. And so this
$200.
is $200 per couple or $200 per individual.
And that's what they're investing?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. You want to do it? You want to pledge that right now to George Sewall? We'll do it.
Go for it.
George, me and Miss BB are going to be your sign-ups, and we'll get you the money here this week. I have the information.
We'll get it on Thursday. I'm messing with you.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger I get today. If somebody wants to help me pay that, just let me know. But yeah, George, sign us up for this week. We're going to do that with you. We're all about the ISX and making a profit per quarterly. So if you take 160, 170,000 per quarter, that's a lot of money per year.
How much per quarter?
160,000 is what he projects. And he's going to call in. You're going to talk about that.
Okay. So I won't ask too many questions about that.
Okay. Iraq and Iran are proposing that they put a bank together. I don't think that'll work. Here, the Association of Private Banks organized a course entitled Capital Planning and Liquidity Planning in accordance with the Basel III decisions at its headquarters in Baghdad. So my whole thing was, what the heck is Basel III? Like, I heard all these terms thrown out. Like, I was like, you're Basel III compliant. What the heck is Basel III compliant? Honestly, I don't know. Basel III is an international regulatory accord that introduced a set of reforms designed to improve the regulation, supervision, and risk management within the banking sector. Largely in response to credit crisis, banks are required to maintain a proper leverage ratio and meet certain minimum capital requirements. So my question then becomes, what the hell is banking leverage, right? Because if you have compliance, what is leverage, right? Because that's a key word there. Leverage is an investment strategy of using borrowed money, specifically the use of various financial instruments or borrowed capital to increase the potential return of an investment. Leverage can also refer to the amount of debt a firm uses to finance assets. So I saw several people on Twitter talking about the other day, Iraq's getting rich because all they do is borrow money and they're using that for their reserves. They can't use that because of Basel III regulations as a reserve. They have to use that as a leverage. And the better their leverage portfolio, the better they will be overall. So the leverage brought me to the whole point of the Kuwait-Iraqi deal, right? Because we know that Kuwait had to be leveraged heavily to sustain such a hard currency number, because we also know that they were also ridden, right? Okay, so that made me dig a little deeper. In 2003, 19% of 2002, although inflation at Kuwait also increased, it was lower than in the other countries reviewed. That was Lebanon, Iraq, Iran, and Kuwait. Kuwait and Iraq, on the other hand, did not experience a significant movement in their exchange rates during the war, meaning that when Iraq and Kuwait were in their war, there was no significant rate change. Kuwait had large foreign reserves to support currency, and Iraq faced significant liquidity shortage. The difference between Kuwait and Iraq at this point, if you're talking about back in the day about leverage and how they revalued their currency and how they're different, you got to note that Kuwait already had, right after the war, large foreign reserves. Iraq didn't. Kuwait did not experience significant change in deposits or de-dollarization ratios, likely as a result of relatively lower availability of inflation. Meaning that because inflation was low, you weren't seeing people seeking out dollars, seeking out Kuwaiti dinar. That kept the value high. And so you didn't see a mad rush to the bank to get dollars instead of Kuwaiti dinar. There are no data of the dollarization for Iraq prior or during the war. Meaning that before the war hit, the reason why you're having a currency stumble, so understand, because there was no de-dollarization. Meaning that the Iraqi dinar never felt like it would be on its own once the war hit or shortly thereafter. You see what I'm saying? because that de-dollarization never happened, there's not a demand for the dinar at that point. Therefore, the dinar can remain it's suppressed.
So, okay, Let's Ride Car Review, that's the person's name, said he was in the Ohio airport at the Tradex currency, and he went to buy some dong and dinar. They sold him the dong, but wouldn't sell him the dinar, and they said it's illegal. He asked, what does that mean? And I have found that it's not illegal, but just because they don't carry it, they make the assumption that it's illegal.
Right. And understand that it would be illegal and sanctioned. If it's sanctioned, they only have it anyway. If it's illegal, why are they mentioning it? So don't play into that part. Go on your foreign currency exchange mechanisms, and you can order it online, order it from somebody else. I'm glad you found that out, because if people are telling you something's illegal, that's a gross negligence of the understanding of what illegal is. It may not be recognized internationally, but illegal it's not.
So our airport is one of the largest airports, IAH.
Sure. O'Hare.
Bush International. And I called those currency exchanges. They do not exchange the Iraqi dinar. However, we can walk into Memorial City Mall and buy the Iraqi dinar. So I think it's just a matter of where you go and
geolocation.
Yeah.
That's all it really is.
Yeah.
Now, to substantiate the rest of my findings about Kuwait, that their GDP really recovered 7 years after the end of the war, but its real GDP per capita was well above its pre-war levels 2 years after the war, meaning that what they were doing before the war was recovered immediately, but they didn't surpass that till after they got out of wartime at about 3 years. Now, remember, if we're talking about Iraq got out of war in what year? Let's say 2003. They haven't surpassed their GDP at all, basically. And their real GDP is suffering because they're not internationally subsidized yet, okay? So with that, Kuwait's population of about 30% compared to its pre-war levels, Iraq's population that left was higher, okay? And it recovered fully after 1 year. After several years of not just the American war, but after the ISIS war, 30% of the Iraqis haven't returned back to their locations they were at. So do you see the difference between Kuwait and Iraq? They don't have the infrastructure that Iraq did. I mean, that Kuwait did. Foreign direct investments in Iraq, particularly in the non-oil sector, is lower than in the other oil exporters. Meaning that even in Kuwait, they had a higher tourism, whatever else private sector things you want to mention than Iraq did after the war to date. Okay? So when you start talking about Iraq is different than Kuwait, yeah, it is. It's a whole different system, a whole different setup, okay? It doesn't make Iraq better or worse, but I'm trying to explain to you one of the factors that they haven't revalued at this time, okay? Someone asked me about Venezuela. Venezuelan John Guiardo returns home. He's calling for more protests. He wants to take his private seat. I think that the Bolivar is going to be a great bribe, but when, I don't know. We are almost ready to take more questions.
I'm trying to remember who asked this question, but they said, could you touch on the Iraq meeting?
About the banks meeting? About them wanting to start their own bank?
Is that what it was?
There's been lots of Iraq meetings, but the only one that was any memorability to me at all was them wanting to start their own bank.
Shoot, it disappeared.
And yeah, they're talking about starting their own bank, but like not its own currency, but its own bank.
And the person mentioned Trump in the question too.
But the only reason why Trump is relevant anywhere in my exchange talks right now is because of the Silk Road. If Trump gets China to raise its currency, and they're still going to do the Silk Road, it's going to raise the currencies that everybody, not only just around them, but they do business with. And those currencies are going to start their own SDR. That own SDR is going to give them some type of economic privilege over their counterparts if we're not in Europe all the way to Asia. So this is where the derivatives come into play, and the Iraqi dinar, the oil-rich countries aren't able to go too high because they have that SDR basket. You see what I'm saying? Because if they make it expensive, don't do business with them, but they need their oil and natural gas. See what I'm saying? So that's one theory. That's a huge theory right now, is the Silk Road is a key component to the dinar revaluation. Okay. And you haven't heard that till now. Probably from us only. And I got that from my boy Peter.
Okay. And then the other question where they could buy the Venezuela
Bolivar?
Yes.
I know some people like Metroid bought it, and Joe has bought it, Joe Williams. But one of y'all shout them out, or if Elizabeth, if you guys know anybody that'll do it.
Well, so I will say in our John's outhouse, Tina, she bought some a long time ago, and she bought it off that website. It's like World something another. I can't remember. I'll find it. I'm sorry. I was trying to pull it up. But
Wraith.
Huh?
So it's on a Wraith.
Wraith. Oh gosh.
I have 6 minutes until I'm gonna call.
Hold on, let me get through here. Let me look for stuff.
Pim said, I'm gonna let him talk about his involvement with the Iraqi Dinar, what he did to kind of infiltrate the whole banking system and tell us what happened. Race. There you go. They're talking about cars.
I wish the questions would stay there. What do you think about the inflation being reported because of the tariffs?
I think it has to be that way because sooner or later, it's either going to rubber band back towards them or it's going to force them to acknowledge the fact that they have an international currency, even if it's worth just a few pennies higher than inflation. Because if you're an Iraqi businessman or an Iran businessman and you're transporting back and forth over the border, it's costing you money every time to do so. You see what I'm saying? So that's something you haven't heard the screams and the hollers about it, but I think the longer it goes on without any real value to their currency, it's going to cause a big scream and holler.
Okay. Hi, Red Fine Line. He said, pretty tight channel. I'm in the Spring Woodlands area. I've been following the IQD for 8 years now.
Good for you. Someone just asked me, did I find out about the Pakistani-Iraqi rate? No, Sean, I didn't. That's a question I'm still raising. That the Pakistani Forex basically showed a value for the Iraqi dinar at about 10 cents. We know that the Pakistani to the dollar is about 138. So the Iraqi dinar to the Pakistani monies was going to be about $1.38. And I don't know if that was in country or out of country. I thought it was out of country.
I could never say the Venezuela.
Bolivar?
Yes. So Corey said one is called VES, like the initials, and then the other one is VEF.
Which is the one people want to purchase?
That we don't know. We need to do more research. But she's just letting us know there's two.
Okay.
And she said we need to learn which one to buy.
Okay. Break the rules and say I am Mr. Brando right now. Oh, he want me to scream. I am
Miss Brando. Someone wants to know, where do you get that smoker from? That vape?
I get it from Atascocita Vapes. I'm going over there tomorrow to buy a new one because this one sucks. I have to buy one about every year or 6 months?
6 months.
6 months because I dropped them and I need a new one, so I'm buying one for my trip. How long you been invested? And shout out to all you guys making it happen as far as getting over 400 people in the live chat. You guys are doing bigger numbers than most of these gossip tea centers right now. And you guys are getting out here getting a real education for free about the heck what's going on, these geopolitics going on. Shout out to all you guys. Shout out to everybody. Also, I want to be over 3,000 subs in the bank by the time we get done. We are still giving away $50,000. I may do that video in the next couple of days. I want to have the right backdrop, the right scene. I want to be feeling myself. Well, I tell y'all, when I get 5,000 viewers, I'm giving away $50,000. So I want you guys to be a part of that. So we got 2 minutes.
Let's see.
To my boy. Anybody else want to ask me a question before I get down? Irene, you guys want me to do it? Do you guys want me to say it real loud? I'll say it real loud.
Turn down y'all volume.
Y'all better turn it down.
So someone asked how much to join George's Investment Club. So
it's $200 per person or $200 per couple.
Okay. That means we split.
50-150.
No, 50-50.
Ah! We split that money too.
Of course, 50-50. Metroid said, my auntie said she went by the Federal Reserve Bank.
Yeah,
they changed the name to Reserve Museum.
All right, y'all.
You making a call?
I'm
XRP put the email address out there in the chat for the investment club.
Okay, thank you.
It's wiseiqd@gmail.com. 200 to join.
Send her up, go straight to the point. What are you talking about?
Who's talking?
Samuel Herrera, go straight to the point. I don't know what you're talking about.
They're probably talking amongst themselves.
Okay. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and call Pimpe. I'm gonna get him to get on this line right now. I'm gonna see if I can get him. He is going to tell you guys about what we know.
Hello.
Hey, Pimpe.
What is going on?
It is me,
Mr. Brando, sir. How you doing?
Mr. Brando.
You know, it's funny. My friend was just here. He's giving me a hard time because he found my oldest son's baby book, and in there I made a note, stocks to watch. And I said, so my friend said, before I wrote this in here, pick 3 companies that if you had the chance to, you'd buy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Do you have us on like another device?
No.
You broke up for a second.
Okay, you broke up real quick. Say that one more time.
3 companies
I was saying that he found my oldest son's baby book, and in there, my friend asked me a question.
Mm-hmm.
At this time, when my son was born, name 3 companies in which he had to buy a minimum 1,000 shares. And I put Microsoft at $1.45,
Dell,
Yahoo at $2.42, and Apple at $1.98 a share, $1.98 a share.
$1.98. Get out of here.
Yeah. No, he did the calculations. He said you have about $151 million right about now. If I would have bought them, I never did. I just was watching them. I pay attention to the stock market a lot, and look for trends is what I'm constantly looking for.
Okay, so Pimpe, tell everybody basically what your major proficiency is, if you can, really fast.
I'm a jack of all trades, masters at most. My expertise levels is in really in the healthcare industry, but as an analyst, I sit on a board, a national board advisory for nation is what I do when we talk about where the direction of the healthcare industry needs to go into. But not just that, I also do advising for what used to be Capitalage and Associates, which is like a financial advising group. We go in and analyze trends and numbers and try to guess where everything's going, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was just talking to Mr. Brando earlier, and I was telling him that a friend of mine was bugging me about 14 months ago, not really bugging me, telling me I need to jump on this whole dinar thing. And at the time, there were certain things I was looking for, types of trends in order for it to be successful. And I just didn't see them at the time. So I brought it up again a couple months ago. And then I went back in and re-looked at everything. And I said, oh, okay, wait a minute. Now it's got my attention.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was telling Mr. Brando was this.
Oh, you broke up again.
You broke up. You broke up. Lee broke up.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I'll stop walking around. I walk when I talk.
Okay.
You were saying you were telling Mr. Brando? Uh-oh. You broke up again.
Am I still breaking up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we can hear you.
Okay. What I was saying was this. I think the problem is when people invest in anything, they get tunnel vision, especially when it comes to foreign currencies. So now they're looking at anything and everything news related to the dinar. But what you should be looking at is not just that. If you really want a clear picture, you got to get outside of that tunnel vision of just dinar this, dinar that. Look at anything and everything that affects the dinar. And I told him, I went into looking at, companies that are into foreign development, foreign investment opportunities. Main focus is in Iraq. Monetary investments, stuff like that.
Right.
So what I ended up doing is I would call these people up.
Now, hold on, Pepe.
Yeah.
If you guys aren't listening, stop talking to each other for 5 seconds and listen to Pimpe right now. Pimpe, tell him what you did.
Okay, so what I would do is I would call the companies like a company that's trying to talk to people and investing in oil, or one of them that's talking about, help us with infrastructure. I would call up the people and say, look, I would create a fictitious business name saying we're private, a fictitious business name and tell them that we're a company that's looking to invest in Iraq and that we're sitting on about $130 million of availability funds. Now, the reason why I choose a number like that is because if you just kind of like half throw a number out there that's really low, they're not really going to spend a lot of time talking to you on a phone. So if they think you actually have $130 million, they'll pretty much answer anything that you want to answer. Now, I also know I'm not just going to go straight to them and say, hey, what do you think of the dinar? It doesn't work that way. So what happens is I start touching on different things about the particular investment. So again, let's go back to oil. So I start asking questions about the oil. But what I'll say in passing, and I'll say it like it's a concern of mine, but I'll list it as only one of my concerns with other ones. And I know they have to address it because I have $130 million that they want. So I just kind of threw out there, one of my concerns is the weakness of the dinar because of the dual currencies that they have. I think I should wait a couple years to invest because until the dinar gets stronger. I just don't see it doing anything in the near future. And they'll correct me really quick, and they have. Out of them, I think I spoke to about 14 different companies. Every single one of them feel like something's going to be done in 2019, and about half of them think that something's going to be done before the end of April. Now, where they get this information from, I'm not sure. But the reason why I call these companies, they have to be aware of what's going on, or else how do you encourage people to go invest into Iraq? Unless, they have to feel like it's a secure investment. With all the corruption that was there, with all as you know, the ISIS and everything else, people are going to be a little reluctant investing in there. One gentleman gave me a phone number that I do call into, and it's a conference call with banks, different types of major companies call in, and they talk about anything and everything geopolitical. And what I do is I just kind of listen, but it also gives me insight on other countries' possible currencies as well. Like Venezuela was a big one that we're talking about. But, it just so happened as I was talking, or they were talking on the phone, the guy was talking about the growth opportunity in Iraq and where their economy is going to be for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So, I was really interested in listening to what these people have to say. So, that's the type of stuff I'm listening to look for any kind of indication that, there's something positive about to happen, or at least in the near future,
So what you're saying is that you called up about 14 to 16 companies, and what you basically did was pretend to be an investor that held about $138 million in equity.
Yep.
And you got either a response to go talk to, or go listen to some calls from somebody, but one
gentleman said that I'm going to give you a phone number. We have these once a week, twice a week conference calls. Just listen. Just listen to what they have to say, because in there you'll get information about Iraq, because Iraq's been really high on their list. There's a lot of investment going. I don't know if people have been news. Just don't Google, the dinar. Go out there and look at the amount of business that's about to go into Iraq, because that's really important. There's some major contracts being signed to redo the infrastructure. I don't know if you've seen the news in Iraq today. There's an electric company that's getting its start in there. And so it's stuff like that that says, hey, look, my currency is about to become stronger. That's what I'm looking for, It's signs like that. That's how I go, okay, now it's time. Like I talked about the Venezuela one. I heard what they have to say. Anybody that's smart, if this leader that Trump is supporting manages to get in there and take control of the company, that's the time you want to buy the currency once he gets in there. Now, what you also got to be careful for is there's been a lot of their gold has been caught trying to be out of that country. It was Trump, and a lot of people got their hands on it. They got it for the Venezuela people, but also large crates of their currency has gone out, just so people are aware. I don't want people rushing over there, but I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm saying be careful, because the last time that happened in a country was, ironically, Iraq during the Saddam Hussein time. And what they did is, okay, if these people stole the money, we don't know who has it. So they changed the currency. So the other money becomes no good, and then they change the currency. I'm not saying that's going to happen in Venezuela because I'm not sure exactly how much money was taken. But if enough of it was taken, you can bet that they're going to make those changes just to protect the value or their economy over there. They don't want a bunch of money that's been stolen coming back in. You know, it's just not going to happen.
Okay, so last question is, you have documentation of what you talked about with them about April and all that other stuff, right?
Okay, so just there's other things I also go to. One of the things I like to go look at is you go look at people who specialize in like Russell investment. These people, they deal in foreign currencies. So you want to read any kind of reports that they have. So any company that deals with and sells currency as an investment, they'll have different reports on there about different countries that you really want to pay attention to. So what you should be doing is treat your dinar like stock, not currency. This way, then you know what to look for when you're Googling it or whenever you're on the internet. Go on there, look for different articles pertaining to different currencies, and you'll get really educated on what you need to look for. There's trends. Actually, you should go on there and Google something like how to invest in foreign currencies. They teach you like trends to look for, what to look for. There's articles out there about the top currencies to look for in 2019. Now, the weird thing is this: I did the dinar thing. There's like a ton of information and misinformation that's being regurgitated with the same groups of people. I don't know if you ever went on there, but there's a lot of the people sharing the same information. That's not the right source, in my opinion. You know, go somewhere where you can see the actual news articles. I have probably, I think, 7 different types of news media links to Iraq that I go through and read all the time because I want to see what the horse, you know, it's coming out of the horse's mouth, so to speak. I want to see what Iraq about Iraq, and that's important. And you'll see a lot. So go to the financial or the banking section, go to the money section. So do the same thing. Also investment strategies. You could go to there's tons of different companies that actually and literally deal in buying and selling like you would a stock in foreign currency. So it's a good way to learn a lot. Wow.
Well, bro,
okay. I noticed you said something about the Silk Road, right? The China, that's really big news, and everybody should be paying attention to that. Let me tell you why. There's another thing that's happening that people aren't talking about. They've created these man-made islands out in the Pacific Ocean, and what they're trying to do is bully people into paying like a tax or keeping trade routes on the ocean, which is a no-no because they're in neutral areas doing it. They just don't care.
Stop walking, Pimpe. Stop walking.
What I'm saying is they got man-made islands, so they're trying to control the trade routes on land and in water. So that's important to keep an eye on. Because that could become a huge geopolitical tension, if you get my drift. But here's what's happening in the United States, or helping us right now with our trade agreement. And I told everybody that Trump's got them where they want them. A lot of people don't realize this, but India and Pakistan are bombing the hell out of each other right now.
Right.
Okay, Pakistan cannot afford to fight with India. They need help from China. China, of course, doesn't have the money to help Pakistan. Now, because of this conflict that's going on, it's forcing China to go into a trade agreement with the United States. Okay, so people are like, well, what does that mean? Well, it affects all the other areas. For you people who've invested in the Vietnam Dung, that's big. Because as we go into agreement with China.
Slow down, bro. You're walking too fast.
I'm Mexican and Italian, so I talk with my hands in my mouth really quick. Sorry
That's
about
all
that.
right.
So what happens is you really want to pay attention to that because it helps with the Vietnam Dung if we can get into agreement with China.
Right.
So those are the types of things I'm saying when people are out there looking, don't just go dinar revalue when you're
your search engine, right? Well, bro, hey, you're breaking up real bad. I'm gonna hang up with you, okay, Pimpe?
Okay. No
and
problem.
I'm gonna hit you up in the group chat a little bit, okay?
All righty, sir.
All right, bro. If I get any questions, I'm gonna have them refer to you, okay? Bye, bro. All
right, have a good one.
You too, bye. Y'all, I can't stress it enough. This guy right here, man, he's created a company to talk to these bankers and to these other financial institutions. And he's already told them that what he wants to know and what's going to find out. And what he's found out is that they know something's going to happen in Iraqi Dinar based upon different factors and things that he's searching about. And if you can take a moment to search all that out, do it. Because like you said, you can call these different numbers. If you're on Mr. Brando's fan page on YouTube, he's put it all up there where you can read it and see it real time. What happened?
I gotta put some cheddar bay biscuits in the oven.
Okay. That's really good.
Okay, cool. What happened?
We had a whole thing.
No, I heard him. I could hear him.
Oh, you hear him downstairs?
Ponte?
Pimpe.
Pimpe.
Pimpe. And it's Mexican. It's not pimp. It's Pimpe. It's Hispanic or
Okay, I got you.
something. Last, I got George Sawal's going to call me. George, if you would go ahead and give me a call about the, or babe, I need one of y'all to call me about the whole Iraqi investment. And then we're going to conclude the evening after this part right here. I need one of y'all to call me. Come on, get on the phone call, Sue. People up. Let's get the 500 in the chat room for Mr. Brando. Derek, yeah. I wanted 500, y'all. We were real close a little bit ago. We missed it. There goes George right there. So now it's George. George is going to tell everybody about how to invest in the club and questions about it. We're going to read them live.
Press 2.
George, turn it down, bro.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Good, brother. How you?
Man, I'll be better once you hold my spot for me and Miss BB to get this money. I want to get your commitment on the air right now.
Hey, look out. I'm going to fair warn everybody. Go ahead and get your pencils and papers ready because I'm going to give you a lot of numbers, and it's going to really blow your minds. People just do not understand the terms of where we're headed and what stock can do for you, where we're at now, where it can go to. And people just don't realize it. So, but I'm going to break it down tonight for you. So to everybody I know, but you need a paper and a piece of paper and a pencil on you, so that way we can get it down, so that way you fully understand everything.
Okay. Well, what first we need to write down, George?
Say again?
What do you want to write down first?
Well, right now, I'm just going to kind of give a brief little detail about myself, okay?
Okay.
Right now, I've been in this business for about 16 years. I spent 13 of them years over there. I know this system real well. This here kind of blends in with pimping or pimpy. What he was saying, you know, people are looking exactly at the dinar. Well, it's not only at the dinar. The people don't realize the stock market is going to be one of the largest in the world that's going to just blow through, and it's going to just wrap up the whole economy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that participates in this market is going to blossom more than they've ever realized. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I've been in for 16 years. I've served 13 of them 16 years over there.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bank account over there, a dinar account. I've had a stock account for 16 years over there.
What are you eating?
And the only way I could get my family and friends involved in it was to start another account. So I started a Iraqi Dinar Club account. Well, I started the account to start with just for my family and close friends.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ended up found out I could have 100 members in this club and continue to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly where I was headed with it. And with that, we come up to a flat rate that we can come up with that will put our numbers up where we wanted to be, where we could really help people retire and sit back if they wanted to. And but just to lay some quick little numbers out for people, say right now I just bought into 1.6 million shares. Okay,
Right.
we're fixing to buy another 1.6 million next week. All right, if we get up to 20 million shares. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and these shares, if they go for $100, bank stock in the Middle East, it's a minimum at 300 right now. Okay.
Hold on, George. You're saying the minimum is 300, but all you want's 100?
Yeah, I'm just giving numbers. Okay.
Okay.
I'm saying if a share in Iraq goes to $100 per share,
Uh-huh.
we only pay pennies for the shares. Okay.
Right.
That's going to give us about $2 billion. Okay. And that's what the stock's going to be worth at that time. At 0.8%, okay, that's going to give us about $16 million quarterly. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Quarterly now. Make that clear. That gives the club $16 million quarterly. Okay? If you could divide that 100 times for 100 members for $16 million, that's $160,000 per quarter per member in dividends. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you with me?
I mean, I was chewing some ice right there, but damn, I didn't want to curse because I know my mom's listening. That is huge. Okay, 160,000 per quarter. So if you do this for 4 quarters, 400 4 times, that's another 32. So you're up 720,000 as a couple per year.
Right.
Wow.
Believe it or not, that's exactly how it's going to be. And it's mind blowing. I'm telling you. You know, I don't even fool with the stock here in the United States because it's too political. It's too tight knit. It's not enough money. Unless you're dumping $1 million in it, you're not going to make anything. Okay. So, but here you're buying stock at pennies on a dollar.
Okay, George, you got a question here.
Yep.
What ISX brokerage is he working with to buy these shares?
What brokerage company the club working with?
Yeah.
Al-Kamal. They're about the second largest stock brokerage company in Iraq. They also are located inside the Bank of Baghdad.
Okay, you called it Al-Kamal?
Al-Kamal.
Can you spell it for him?
A-R-M-A-L, yeah.
Okay, so Fidel, that answers your question then.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody asked what brokerage firm you're working with.
Iraq brokerage.
Yeah, Al-Kamal is the brokerage company I deal with.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
My first account, I deal with Raby Securities. I can't afford to account with them people right now because they know what's fixing to happen to the stock. So their membership fees is through the roof already. I'm not paying that kind of money because I didn't want to take a bunch of money out of my savings to hurt my family.
Okay.
But I wanted to find and locate. So I found a deal with Al-Kamal, and they worked a deal with me to where I could make this happen. So that's exactly where we at.
Okay.
And Al-Kamal is. I've got my broker on. I've got him on Skype. I got him on Messenger. I got him on Facebook. I can talk to him any day, any night, any day of the week. Okay, 24/7. If he's asleep and he wakes up and hears a ding, he's gonna get out of the bed and answer me. Okay. Okay,
hold on real quick, George. George, hold that thought real quick. Anasia, 3,500 to 100 IQD has not stopped. No one says it's stopped. All we're saying that we're offering different investment opportunities based upon where you feel comfortable. No one said it stopped, but I won't talk to Vic until tomorrow, okay? Keep going, George. I'm sorry. You still got the floor.
Okay. Now, I'm going to give you another figure.
Okay.
Most of your smallest banks in the Middle East, that share is going a minimum of around $300 per share.
Oh, my God.
Okay. All right. At $300 a share, 20 million shares, that's $6 billion that the club gets. Okay. At 8%, that's $48 million. Okay. You divide that by 100, that's $480,000 per member per quarter. All right, that's 8%. That's a little high, but it's possible. Okay. All right, let me give you this little figure. At 20 million shares, at $300 a share, that's $6 billion. Times 2% interest, that gives you the club $12 million in dividends. You divide that by 100, that gives each member $120,000 per member per quarter. Wow. You tell me anybody can't live on that.
Yeah, that's forever money, George.
George, let me ask.
That's what I'm saying.
George, let me ask you what stocks are going to be in this portfolio?
I'm just quoting bank stock right now. We're
Warco, Bank of Baghdad, Alamare. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, well, there was a question.
Okay.
We're getting into Asia sale. We're getting into transportation, meat, fish. We're getting into ready-made clothes. I got like 26 different stocks that I'm pinpointing and targeting. Okay.
Okay.
The top 26 stocks in Iraq is what I'm targeting for the club.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's exactly where I'm headed. If I can get them top 26 in the club, and if I can average about 1 million shares of each one, we'll be exactly where we want to be, if not above. Okay.
And you guys, he's not going to name the stocks off so you can go out there and buy them yourselves.
Well, no, it's not that.
I get that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I get it.
No.
Like, what stocks?
So,
I wouldn't tell you if I had my stocks.
Well, let me say this. When you invest in America, like I'm invested in certain portfolios. I know that it holds Google.
Right.
It holds Apple.
Right.
It holds Home Depot.
Right.
So, number one, George has the way with all to do this in the ISX.
Right.
But there has to be a disclosure as well.
Well, yeah. But all he's
invested.
to George's defense, and I get what he's saying. Pay me the money to get you in. Okay, that shows me you're serious.
Yeah.
Once you give me the money to get in, you're in. Now you don't get to pick because if you're gonna pick yourself, you got to pay $10,000 to get in. No. I'm not getting mad at anybody in particular, but I'm just telling you, if it was me and I was doing it, I wouldn't tell you the stocks.
Well, babe. So the reason why I'm saying this is not
that'd be selfish.
It's totally disclosure. I mean, that's when you invest. The investor has the right
in America, though, right?
In America, but they're not going to run off and buy it because there's too much red tape that has to go through it.
Right.
I'm just saying, as an investor, you have the right to disclosure.
Sure.
That's
but what he's saying is, before I give you my right to disclosure and put my business out there anyway, my business, I want you to go ahead and invest that money up front. Now, this is not our money, y'all. I'm not telling you. I don't get George, tell them I get zero from this. I have to pay like everybody else does.
Yeah, I'm be honest with you. I get zero.
Right. You don't make extra money, right?
Any member in this is equal, even me.
Okay.
The chairman of the club. Okay?
Now,
everybody's going to be treated equally.
In everybody being fair, because we got to get off this line a few seconds. If you invest in the club, you will disclose what stocks you're buying or what stocks you're investing in after that investment's been made, right?
Right. Yeah. What you invest, if you say you put in $200, okay. If everybody puts in $200 and we buy, say, 20 million shares, we all are going to be equally.
No. You'll tell them what stocks are invested in per stock. So if they want to list all 200 stocks or 500 stocks where you're invested in, you'll tell them.
Yes. Oh, yes. And I open my books up to any member. If they want to see my books, what we are doing and where we're putting the money and stuff like that, I'll be proud to show them. Because every dime that I receive into this club goes directly into stock. I don't take a dime out of this stock. This club was put together by me, out of my pocket, and out of my own time, which was a lot of it. Okay. But I ain't getting one red cent out of it except the stock I put in it. And I've done it out of the goodness of my heart because I felt God put it in my heart to do it. That's the reason why I've done this.
This is totally like transparency.
This is just
transparency.
Me too. I do
and
too.
if you go Google top stocks in the Iraq Stock Exchange, it pulls it right up. I have it right here in my phone. So I mean,
But how much does it say per share?
Like 29 cents. This one, it just depends on what you guys select. This one's 23 cents. This is 28 cents. So it just depends. Bank of Baghdad is at 28 cents.
Yeah, see, I don't do anything on the U.S. side. Everything I do is through the ISX. I can tell you down to the fields of what it costs per stock in dinar, okay? Or fields in dinar, stuff like that.
Now, George,
I don't go by U.S. dollars. Okay?
George, do you want me to post up the stuff you sent to me in the community tab for the stock stuff?
I'll be more than happy and invite anybody to the club because I'm welcoming anybody because this is nothing but but a family and friends club, and it will be treated and led that way. I don't like drama and stress. I don't like problems. I want everybody to be happy and just enjoy life, because that's exactly what we're going to do once it pops anyway. So this is just one other way that all of us can prosper from it, because the dinar is not everything in this investment.
Right. You got to have residual incomes. You've got to have residual incomes.
Visualize other things other than that dinar.
Right.
More than that, just the dinar to live on. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, George is going to be off for the next, not online for the next about 14 days. We're going to post up the information either tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to get to Miss BB. We're going to get these last people in here. Me and April are going to do it too. We're going to invest we're going to be just like y'all. And I'm going to hang out with George. George, I'm going to hang out with you real quick. I'm going to send us out, okay?
Good night, George.
Good night, George.
Yeah, good night.
Good night, brother.
Love y'all.
Love you.
All right, love you too.
Bye-bye.
And happy birthday to Kevin Wilt. I got to go. And
Hey, Kevin. Hey, y'all. I'm going to sign off. It's been a great night. I appreciate everybody and everything that's been done. Well, I know we're over 3,000 probably in subbies. I want to hit 5,000. I'm giving away $50,000.
In IQD. Say that.
In IQD. And I want you guys to have a great night and enjoy this. God bless. Good night.